You are live. Love that message. Right. Allow me to also go live on Instagram. Okay. Come on. Let's go. Perfect. And we're live also on Instagram. Brilliant. So, hey and welcome. This is Noemi, founder of Scaleway. And today's session is going to be streamed on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram as well. So, in the meantime, I am just looking at all the windows that are open for all those channels. Hi and welcome. So, let me tell you something. Because many of you have asked last week, 2 weeks ago, no, last week, wait, on the 21st, successfully gave birth to our baby daughter, Zara Bolojan. And we are back and running. Everyone was asking about how is she doing and how am I doing. Just quick update. Everyone is fine. Everyone is perfect. We are hitting the 2 weeks mark since she was born. So we are quite excited about it, and also adjusting as new parents. Hence, today's session is going to be only a half an hour, making sure that I'm going to address all the questions that are submitted within the comment sections on both Instagram, YouTube, and also LinkedIn. And also, I'm going to answer the questions that have been submitted already to keep things neat and short and to the point. This quick update again. This is Noemi, founder of ScaleWave. Today's session is dedicated, all our sessions, to Amazon PPC related questions. We're going to answer the fundamentals, the basics, aka beginner questions first. And if there are going to be any other questions that are more advanced, happy to tackle them as well. Also, if you have any questions regarding business, scaling, hiring, firing, SOPs, systems, processes, feel free to drop them in the comments section below. But as I was saying, first we're going to address everything that is Amazon PPC. Now, before starting the session right away with going through the questions that have been submitted, I wanted to bring you something that was top of mind for me, and I'm going to start sharing my screen. Here it is. And right now, as I was saying, I'm in the phase of being a new parent, being a new mom, and right now I'm just looking at buying all the stuff that I did not even anticipated that I would need, or buying more of the stuff that I anticipated that I would need. One of the things that really stopped me scrolling and made me create this quick intro to today's session is something that most of the time when I'm speaking to brand owners and they have a hard time understanding is exactly what I'm going to show here and share with you, which typically is you are bringing traffic to a listing with Amazon ads. Now, the listing itself, if it's not converting, if the first click is not achieved, no matter how much you would be advertising, no matter how much, effort would be in the structure and the campaign name and everything else, it's not going to work. And this is the point that I would like to make, and especially for products where here I'm just sharing with you. So this is a metal utility rolling cart, and this is something that I personally was looking into purchasing. And it's really interesting because here, if you see, most of the carts look exactly the same. Only difference is the pricing, right? By the way, our cat also chimes in. So if you hear any meows in the background, so you know that's Hugh, our cat, chiming in. But back to the topic, basically why I want to show this and what are really important things when it comes down to this. Keep in mind that I am going to shop on Amazon as your regular Joe show, Joe, as anyone would, even if I understand advertising, even if I understand placements, even if I understand everything else that's going on the background of Amazon. But keeping in mind that we would be advertising just for anyone else who's not knowledgeable about where do our ads show up and how do they, what are they doing afterwards once that they clicked within the listing and so on and so forth. I'm just going to scan this page as I would if I would not know any ads, right? Why is this important is because most of the time I'm speaking to brands and they have a very poor or not clear or misunderstanding when it comes down to, hey, I'm hiring you to to create ads for my listings and to make sales. And then we have the discussion. Great. All right. So let's see your products. And then we're going into their catalog and seeing, hey, I see that you have, let's say that's our fictitious brand, it's selling one of these. So let's say that they are selling this product, for example, right? And what is really important is that if you're selling this product and if you cannot differentiate your product, especially the main image, first off, not only that no one would click on the listing, but then second, you would assume that it's advertising. You have to increase your bids. You have to do like all the magic there, when in fact, people are not even interested to click within the listing. So again, let's say this is our customer. This is our fictitious brand owner who we are serving with ads. And then they are saying, hey, what is going on with ads? And right now I don't have any performance. Then we would discuss, all right, so how can we increase performance, better performance, and also make those ads convert at a cheaper price? If you see from here, something that I'm noticing, me again as a shopper, regular shopper, is that there are some specifics that would make me click within one listing. Keep in mind, again, I'm not even thinking listing, I'm thinking, why would I click on the product, right? And here, as you see, most of the carts don't even have anything inside. They are just purely like as they are. The only difference between, let's say, product 1 and then product 4 is going to be they look very, very identical. I would actually compare these two because these are really identical and it's almost $11 price difference between them. So product 4 and product 5, they look quite identical and there's no much difference between them. Even the angle that they are featuring, the main image is the same. So if it comes down to that, why would I still buy this $38? So once that I identify with my, crocodile alligator brain that, hey, this product it looks exactly the same or very, very similar to the other product that is $10 cheaper, I would honestly click on that because this is not a Gucci bag, So I'm not looking for brand recognition. I'm looking for something that would be helpful for whatever I'm looking for. In this case, store some baby clothes and baby stuff, right? But then if you're looking to the next thing, so we identified that pricing is one of the triggers that would make me click, then I would look into, all right, but how about if I would have these two options, option 2 and option 3? Now, option 2 is super strong because besides the fact that it also had this products inside, so it's going to showcase me how would it look like once that I'm going to, let's see, place all my baby items inside. I think that here, actually, there are some bottles on the top shelf. Yes, so there are baby bottles on the top shelf and then some more stuff and then some like random stuff, kitchen stuff, which makes me believe that this would be placed somewhere in the kitchen. Now, keep in mind that this one already has 5 tiers, which is already a differentiator between all the 3 tiers. Besides that, also it has multiple colors, right? And this one look quite identical. I would 100% click on this one, because it has 5 tiers. So it's going to show as if I would buy more value for whatever I'm looking for. But the second thing is going to be also, look, they are running coupons. So the fact that they are running coupons and it ends in 13 hours, now I'm not even sure if it's going to end in 13 hours or not, because this can be really like a gimmick, In this case, I know that it's not a gimmick because actually Amazon is running these deals, these coupons are very strictly based. So if they are saying 13 hours, actually it is 13 hours. But again, me as the skeptic Amazon shopper who's just looking out for something, right now what I see already is that from $34, this is at $29 and the deal is going to end, as well as this has 5 tiers. I'm already seeing the product, how it's going to be used. I'm going to click on that listing. And making just a bit smaller the page, this is the same strategy that most of the brands that are selling really well are doing. So they are running some type of coupons or reduction, and also it's going to showcase here with ends in. So this is, I believe this is lightning deal what they are having here, or lowest price in 30 days. Again, this is a different type of deal. Now here, this is not necessarily a deal itself, but they reduced the price. And why I'm showing you this is because first off, it's going to be really, really important for us to understand that if we want someone to click within our listing, already if our pricing it's not competitive enough, and if we don't have something like a badge. Here, for example, this looks like a badge. This looks like, hey, alert, alert, this deal is going to end. Check out this product, right? So these are important factors because most of the time brands, for some reason, they just like don't even think of the fact that we would need to have other levers besides just running advertising to their listing. And I wanted to share this with you because I love to shop whenever I'm on Amazon. I'm literally shopping just as your regular Amazon shopper. Now, whenever I'm seeing that the listing is well optimized, I'm going to, okay, so they got me. Now I know why I shop this item. Certainly hope that you got value from this session. But again, this is something that I'm seeing more and more often, and brands, they just don't get it. So either pricing differentiator, either a way how your product looks. So this, for example, it has a different design, either the value offer that you're making. So here, for example, all of them are 3 tiers. This product shows up as 5 tier. I would pick the 5 tier and also then compare to the price of the 3 tier, and also the fact that it already showcases how does the product looks like in action. Right, and let's switch now to our topics for today. So the questions, and then also I have here already a few questions waiting for me. So allow just quickly to go through them. Okay, I think. All right, so good question comes in from LinkedIn right now. I'm going to answer that first, and then I'm going to go to the other questions that have been submitted. Question is, what would you usually do in this scenario? Client says, my sales are dropping. Wait, let me remove this. Let me put my face again. All right, so once again, question goes. First question, what do you usually do in this scenario? Client says, my sales are dropping. In this scenario, how would you go about looking at diagnosing about the issue, and then walk me through how you would address this? Well, we want to understand why are the sales dropping. I do not have context here. I do not have context of what part of their Amazon accounts are you managing, or if you're even managing the whole account or just part of it. But really important is, if the client says that, that is a red flag. So the client should not say that. You should be saying that to the client. If anything happens on the account, you should be the one pointing it out, either positive, either negative. Why? It's because sharing that is going to showcase that you are transparent. Keep in mind that most of the time, clients, especially whenever you're sending out a report, or once we are sending out a report, they have this quality of never noticing something that is positive, only noticing whenever something is negative. So something went wrong, why it went wrong. So then the way how we are structuring this, look, this is what happened. We are bringing it up. The sales went down, or sales are dropping. We are bringing it up. The client does not bring it up. The moment the client is bringing it up, then is already something triggered in their brain that we are not paying attention. Therefore, they had to notify us instead we or us notifying them. So in this scenario, what we would do first is we are letting know the client, hey, sales are dropping. This is what we are believing it happening. Now, it can be several reasons why sales are dropping, and no matter how good you are at advertising, if any of those reasons are happening, it's just like you cannot grow sales. One of the things, and here what we would do is running a quick checklist on understanding why are sales dropping. If this is a catalog of products and it's not the only one product, then we would rule out, okay, which is the product that right now is not performing as well as previously. So then we can identify if there's one certain product that is not bringing the same sales, right? The second thing what we would do is making sure that we understand, okay, sales are dropping, what is causing that? Is it an inventory issue for the product? Are my ads not showing for the product? Are CPC prices higher and we are keeping the same CPC and we cannot convert anymore? So we are just running down a checklist on what could have caused or triggered the issue. Once that you understand that, that is something that you would share with the client. Because in this case, again, if the client says their sales are dropping, they are noticing that, and you are not the one that's bringing it up. Instead, what we would do in this case or in this scenario, because we are doing weekly reports, this is also happening on our end, just letting you know. And most of the time, actually, it's not even our fault, but literally, especially for brands who have a larger catalog, let's say one SKU is the best-selling SKU, and we're pushing advertising for it, and then inventory is not coming in time, and then we have to rethink everything what we're doing. But what is happening in that specific scenario is like, no matter what we did in performance, how well we perform for the other SKUs, for that one SKU who's bringing most of the sales, it's still down. So I would identify it rather than zooming out for clarity and see what is going on and what is applicable to what I'm doing. Because if it's something that it's internal, like as I was giving the example with the inventory issue, if you don't have inventory for a specific product, or if your ads are not showing up, or if your CPC is too high, or if simply it's just like a buy box issue, then no matter what you're doing already right on the advertising end, from a technical point of view, it's going to be seen in your performance. Let me know if that helped. And then the second question. Okay, allow me just quickly to take note of all these. Now the second question, greetings, hope you're doing well. I am. How are you, Muhammad? I have a question that, what do you usually do in this scenario, Clay? Oh, all right, so it's the same question. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, so in this case, let me walk through the questions that were already submitted and also we left off at last time. Cool. Okay. Allow me to quickly just move around windows here. Okay, so the next question is, how do you separate PPC performance issues from non-PPC issues like listing, quality, pricing, or inventory? Great question. And the way how we would do it, simply, I just gave an answer or partial answer a few moments ago to Muhammad, who was asking how do you deal with clients when they say that the sales are dropping. So really important is to understand non-PPC issues like listing, quality, pricing, or inventory, and PPC performance issues. When we're talking about PPC performance issues, we are talking about, is the ad set up correctly in order for me to generate traffic? Not sales, traffic, right? So if I'm generating traffic enough, that is proof that ads are set up correctly. Now, I'm not talking about strategy. I'm not talking about tactics when it comes down to how you set up everything. I'm simply talking, do we generate traffic to the listing? If we generate traffic to the listing, if there are impressions on the listings, this means that someone at least is seeing our ad. So anything that is relevant to someone not seeing our ad, that would be PPC related issue, right? Here it can be simply you lost buy box, so your listing is not showing up anymore, or simply for some reason Amazon is not allowing you to advertise specific things, or you're not ranking for specific things, or you're not ranking. Indexing is the word that I was looking for. You're not indexing for specific keywords, so Amazon is not even going to show you. And in that case, you would be just creating a case with Amazon at support and asking them what is going on, and then just showing the results. Now, when it comes down to non-PPC issues like listing, quality, pricing, and inventory, these are going to be all kind of the outcome of whatever your sales are going to show. So I was talking about traffic. Advertising is traffic, right? Now, outcome of that traffic is going to be your listing quality, pricing, and inventory. How are you selling? Are you selling well a product? If you're bringing traffic to it, are you selling poorly? And here it's going to come down to conversion, right? Conversion rate. And that is something that we would see from in business reports. You can see what is the conversion rate per total organic and paid ads. And then what we would do here, we aim to increase the conversion rate either by improving the image, especially the main image, that is going to bring the quickest uptick in conversion, in making sure that at least we have more people clicking within the listing. Now we don't know if they are going to convert or not, like they're going to purchase or not, but what we know is at least we generate more clicks. So impression is first, and more click it's the second, and then third is going to be, all right, so now they clicked more. Are they actually going to buy whatever they clicked on? So that is the way how you would separate this. Let me know if that answered the question. All right. Next question is, what business factors outside PPC matter most for growth on Amazon? This steps back to the previous section and the previous questions that I answered. Really, it has to do, besides advertising, it has to do with the listing itself. So what we've seen on our end, and for some reason, people or brands assume that just because you brought traffic to a listing, that's going to also convert at the best, and that if you're not converting it at the best, it's your fault as a an Amazon ad manager that's not converting, when in fact it can simply be that the listing, it's not worthwhile for someone to go through and purchase it. So I think the most important thing is going to be the main image, because if someone is going to click within the listing, at least then we know that they clicked within, so we got them curious, they clicked within the listing. But if they did not convert it, at least now we know that we have to improve on the side of how do we sell them, quote unquote, because that's what you're doing, you're persuading them. How would you persuade them to buy your product? I think that is the first thing, main image. Second thing is going to be also the rest of the images. Keep in mind that just because you have a good main image, it doesn't mean that you can neglect the rest of the images. That is actually a good proof that if you're going to improve the main image but not the rest of the images, people are just not going to, you're going to lose trust even more, because people are not interested in buying the product. And also in Amazon eyes, you're going to just generate more and more proof that whatever keyword you are trying to rank for and they click within and they're not converting, actually you're not relevant for it. So I believe that when it comes down to factors, business factors outside PPC matter most for growth on Amazon. First off, making sure that you have a pretty face, quote unquote, when it comes down to, hey, are they willing to check you out at least? Because if not, then even the other things that I'm going to talk about, other business factors such as operations and inventory and overall, understanding that it takes money to make money, those are things that at this point we cannot even discuss about. So just making sure that the listing itself, it's going to be optimized in such a way, and you're going to create proof for it via A/B testing to make sure that you are going to, once that you brought traffic, you're going to also make a sale. Okay, so this is a question regards, I believe, the way how we're reporting. And the question is, do your reports just show data, or do they explain what changed and why? So we became very rigorous when it comes down to reporting. And first off, we understand that the brands that we manage, they don't understand necessarily the data and all the numbers, but what they see and what they appreciate is all the things that we did in order to achieve those things. So what we did, what we changed in our reports, it's not only showing the data, so how we grew week by week performance or month to month performance, but also which are the changes that we did for that particular week for an account, Why is this important? One, it keeps us accountable towards them, and two, it gives them accountable towards us in case that we are projecting for, let's say, for this week, we need 3 items from the client. They will know about it, that they are expected to provide those things. So right now, it's not as much about just showing the data, but we have the data, so the numbers, because they are important. And then also we are sharing exactly every day on the client communication side, on the listing side, on the buy box win side, on the inventory side, on the exactly what we did for an account. So what we optimized, what we kept, what we paused, what we reconsidered, what is new that we created, coupons if we created. So we go in very detail when it comes down to this, specifically because this actually I think I was inspired by Leila Hormouzi, and she was saying at some point that, or at one point in one of her content pieces, she was saying that whenever you are going to share whatever you did for someone, give as much details as possible. Or whenever you're asking, and this is in a setup of like business setup, you're an employee, whenever you're asking maybe for a raise even, share exactly whatever you did for that specific, like which were your responsibilities, and detailed it out, because that way you're going to gain more trust from the your employer, and in this case from your client. Meaning, if you're going to just share the template, of this is the data and so on, and without any thought process or anything like, hey, let me explain to you what happened, why it happened, and so on, then there's a higher likely chance that they're going to stick with you rather than with anyone else who would provide just data for them. Let me know if that helped. Next question. How involved do you expect me to be as a brand owner? Okay, so these are all still questions when it comes down to, I believe, from brand owner to an agency. Okay, cool. So the question is, how involved do you expect me to be as the brand owner? And here I think it's referring to you as a brand owner whenever you're collaborating with an agency partner or an Amazon Ads manager. What we like to do here is we want to make sure that we understand right out of the bat the type of business owner this person is. Are they nose in, hands in? Meaning they need to know everything, they want all the details, they want to chime in, they have all these ideas. Because if they are that type of operator or business owner, honestly, those are the hardest ones that we work with, because they're always kind of, how do you put it, nice, in a good way and detailed way. They have the impression that they're being helpful, when in fact what they're doing, they're throwing a lot of things on you, and at the end they don't know how to prioritize, so they're going to not help you at all to prioritize, but rather than to prioritize everything. And then besides the fact that you actually have to manage someone's ad account, which means already creating ads, optimizing, negating, setting up coupons, and so everything what you would do besides the management side, if they are nose in and hands in, that means that you are just going to have the hardest time in, one, not going out of scope in whatever you provide, and then two, actually achieving results, because then they're going to blame that you should have told them that that is not important. So that is nose in, hands in. Nose in, hands out. This is basically the type of business owner that is, they are involved within the progress, but they are not involved within the day-to-day. They are going to look through the reports that you are submitting, and then, okay, you have the thumbs up, keep up the good work. Or if they have occasionally question, what did just happen there, or so on, or this is the new product that I'm planning to launch, they're going to be way more on the, I hired you as manager, I trust you as manager, you're showing me results, I don't have to deal with you, quote unquote. Operators are the best when it comes down to this. Whenever we're dealing with brand owners, usually we have a harder time. Whenever we're dealing with operators, they shine at nose in, hands out. And then the third one is going to be the nose out, hands out. These are again one type of business owners that is hard to deal with, because they would not care at all of whatever is going on within the account. They just like forget whatever they hired you for, and then they're coming back in 6 months, a year, and like, what is going on? And then they usually are just like, okay, what should we do, and so on. So that is the type of operator that seems to be ideal client. They are not, because then you're just like wondering, when are they going to come back, and then they're just going to drop you, because one, you already provided them with everything, but they are not willing to play along in growing the brand together. So again, I think this is great for you to differentiate, and also you as a brand owner know yourself when it comes down to it, and also the agency to sniff out this as quick as possible before even partnering up, because otherwise what it's going to end up with is you're not going to know this, and then you might not be a good fit for each other. Again, the reference to the nose in, hands in, and nose out, hands out, and so on, it's from Leila Hormozi. I really like the way how she put it. So, and actually, it's a great fit also for what is happening on the client agency side. So that's why I'm saying them. Okay, we are already at the 30 minutes mark, and we've went only through 5 questions. Okay, one more is, how much access do I get for questions, strategy, discussion, and back and forth support? So this is, again, when it comes down to working with an agency, or in this case, it's really important to ask this question as quick as possible. And this would be a better question to ask than how many clients do you serve, to be honest, is because most of the time, especially smaller brands, what I'm seeing is they have the impression that just because you're the agency owner and you, or maybe, for example, right, ScaleWave is a smaller agency that is handling only a smaller or a limited amount of clients. Based on that, I am still the face and the brand behind ScaleWave. And whenever they would be hopping on a call, they are hopping on a call with me, for example. And then they would have the impression that just because they hopped on a call with you, that you are the one who's going to manage the account. And here, what is really, really important is letting them know that if that is not the case, right? So we're not a consultancy, we're an agency. I am not on a daily basis managing an account. I have a team that is doing this, that I'm supervising, and with whom I am training, and with whom I am growing personally. So this means that also I will just get into the accounts and see, like, and learn and so on, but I'm not doing the day-to-day. However, I have a good system in place in which that they understand what to do and how to do things the way that ScaleWave does things. So when it comes down to questions, strategies, discussion, back and forth support, this is really important if you are the agency owner, and also if you're the brand owner, to understand that, for example, if you were on the call with me and you decided to partner up with me, that you understand that you will not have direct access to me all the time with all the questions and with strategy discussions and back and forth support. You will have access to your project coordinator, who is going to be the collaborator between me, who is strategy, and between the other team members, who might be design or catalog team. Why is this important? Is because you don't want to create the impression that you are always accessible, because then they believe that you're always accessible and they are going to ask all the questions. So really, really important whenever this question comes up, especially when it comes down to interviewing agencies, or I think that you should be asking this, because then you will have clear expectations. Okay, one more question is, how experienced is the person making strategic decisions on my account? Okay, so this is also a question that comes up when it comes down to typical questions that people are not asking when it comes down to usually sales calls or lead calls. So it's really important that you understand that if you're a brand owner and if you're on a call again with someone who is just sharing whatever their business can do for them and all the services and so on, it's really important that you understand that you are not going to, that person is not going to manage the account. Probably that is one of the people who is either the founder. So I just shared my story in one of the previous questions when it was like, who addresses my questions, right? But also it can be a salesperson. So they are really good, really knowledgeable in the product, in this case, the service itself. And they're going to make sure that all the questions that you're asking are being answered and tailored to whatever your needs are actually. Now, when it comes down to how experienced is the person making strategic decisions on my account, here it really depends on the who is going to be Amazon PPC strategist within the team. On our team, I am a PPC strategist, right? I also have team members who are knowledgeable enough and who are just like bringing wealth of information. Some of them are PPC strategists, others are not. Others are just, hey, I'm optimizing, or other responsibilities are, I'm just optimizing things, I'm just creating reports, I'm just like client back and forth. Why is this really important is because you don't want those type of people with those skills handling your account. You want a strategist to handle your account. So instead of asking this question, maybe a better question would be to ask is, okay, so who's going to handle my account and what is their knowledge level? And then what is your day-to-day operations when it comes down to, hey, am I going to directly communicate with the person who's handling my account? Am I going to communicate with the project coordinator, such as in our case? Am I going to, who is my go-to person? Because that is going to help you define, in case that you're already knowledgeable and you have questions, specific questions regarding strategy when it comes down to PPC, the people who are managing the account on that level, they can answer. Okay, one more question. Where do I go to? Okay. I think this is going to be the last question because we are already 36 minutes in. All right, so the next question is, when clicks are below the minimum threshold, should we continue testing or stop the campaign and reallocate the budget? So we have to define what minimum threshold is. If there is at least a 10% conversion, a minimum threshold would be at least 10 clicks. When it comes down to minimum threshold, I like to think not necessarily only on the minimum threshold, like one click and it did not convert it, but was that one click, it did not convert it, and was a strategy that we installed 2 years ago? Or was this a strategy that we installed maybe last week or maybe even this week and we get no impressions and we just get the one click? Because then we're going to answer differently. So if this is a strategy that you just deployed, if it's a new campaign that you created and it's within the 5 strategies, discover, rank, conquer, which was the 2, protect, and then I think this was the one. These were the one. Sorry, my brain. So the 5 strategies that we already have in Scale, if you see clearly that it did not at all show up on the map, you did not got any clicks or very few clicks, in that case, if it's a new campaign, you did not allow enough threshold, basically. But if this is a campaign that you already created, maybe even a month ago or even 2 months ago, and it's not anymore within the strategy for the account, then you might be considering pausing. So it's really important that you understand exactly which is the campaign that you're going to act on a certain way on, because if you would be just like, hey, I don't get any clicks, I'm going to pause everything, you don't want to pause something that you just created. Let me know if that answered the question. Right, and we are, what is PPC aiming? This is not a question, but someone is asking. Well, basically what we have these sessions. Today we went for 30 minutes, almost 40 minutes, but basically we have the Ask Me Anything. It's a shortening for Ask Me Anything, AMA, and I'm answering Amazon ads related questions. All right, then that's a wrap. Thanks so much for everyone joining and for watching. We're going to see each other next week. I will be back on Tuesday from 1 p.m. EST time. Till then, be good. In case that you need anyone helping you with your advertising efforts, feel free to book a quick call with me. Happy to go through your account, happy to provide valuable feedback. Even if you are not a good fit, still happy to be at your value. That being said, thanks so much for watching. See you next week. Take care. Bye.